Welcome back to Mind Trick Media. Today we're doing another Clone Wars arc episode. So this Clone Wars arc is actually 3 episodes and is at the very beginning of the show. So
the first of the 3 episodes we're covering is season 1, episode 2 through 4. As you've been following along, we've already done the first episode. We've covered the first episode already, but we're at the next 3 now. Finally, chronologically. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure from here on out, we're finishing season 1 until we'll finish season 1. We got to skip episode 16 because we already did it for God knows what reason. But
of season 2.
No, we did season 1, episode 16 too.
Did we?
Yeah. So we're going to do, I think the rest of it is all in a row for season 1, and then season 1 will be a wrap. So, but today we're covering season 1, episode 2 through 4, the Malevolence arc.
First episode, Rising Malevolence.
I didn't write the names down.
I wrote
the quotes down.
That's what I was waiting for.
So the quote for episode 1: "Belief is not a matter of choice, but of conviction."
So basically, the Separatists have this new weapon, and the Republic's trying to figure out what this weapon is. And so, basically, we instantly cut to, like, Dooku and Grievous talking about this weapon and how they're keeping it secret, and they don't want, like, there can be no survivors of this because they don't want the Republic to know what it is. So
yeah, and so far at this time period, there's been a dozen Republic starships have been destroyed.
Yep.
And they have no idea why or how.
yeah, so basically, Dooku and Grievous are trying to lure in and trap Master Plo Koon's fleet. And basically, we see this new weapon, and it's this giant ion cannon that shoots out the side of one of their giant star cruisers.
Well, it's like a star cruiser on steroids. Like,
Yeah,
this thing's
it's
like
like
2 of them put into one.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically on both sides, it can launch this giant, like, force field ray ion cannon, and it basically, everything in its path, it shuts down. Yeah. So the problem with that is if you shut down one of these Republic ships, they don't have deflector shields. So
they don't have anything. They lost all their power.
Yeah.
They lost everything. So Plo Koon, before they intercepted they called it at the time a super weapon. They didn't know it was the ion cannon yet, but it doesn't really matter. Plo Koon sent out a transmission so they knew where he was before they started the attack. And they did not start an attack. They got attacked. I thought it was funny, the dialogue here. Dooku said, "I think this would be a suitable test for our weapon." He says this to Grievous. And I'm like, what do you mean a suitable test? We've lost a dozen starships. So I don't understand that dialogue there. I don't know if it's just because the first time we've seen it and they just wanted the dialogue to be a certain way. But I was watching it and I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, you've destroyed 12 of them already.
Or maybe he just knew it was Plo Koon. And maybe they've been destroying ships that don't have Jedis at the...
So
on the... What is that called? On the... What is that walk called?
The walk?
Yeah, like where the command part.
In the ship?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Whatever. At the helm. I don't know.
So basically immediately, no warning. Like I said, they don't start the fight. Grievous and Dooku start this fight, and just one shot from this ion cannon disabled 3 cruisers.
Yeah. Also, I think this is the first... No. This is one of the first times we see Plo Koon where he has, like, dialogue. or is technically chronologically.
Chronologically? Well, even, like... I mean, even
yeah,
so,
he doesn't talk in the movies. I just thought about that.
He doesn't talk in the movies, and then he's not in the first episode. So, I mean, yeah, this is the first time we get to hear Plo Koon talk, I think. What have we covered so far? The movie, first episode, Anakin's arc with Trench.
I don't think Plo Koon's been in
Plo
anything.
Koon hasn't been in anything yet.
But like what you were saying, so they fired him at these ships, and basically they immediately shut down. So they're destroying these ships, and Plo Koon has as many clones and himself as possible get into these escape pods and launched all of them to get them out of
Just
there.
launch them into space because they have no other option. 'Cause
Yeah.
their ship is done for.
And so with that happening, we see Plo Koon get launched, and I think Dooku makes the order that there can be no survivors. Go find them and kill them.
Yeah, so they send out a couple hunters, a bunch of just basically it's just droids, and then they have this special like ship that's like designed to crush an escape pod.
I'm not gonna lie, this ship used to freak me out when I was a kid.
I mean, yeah, well, we
But
were.
if I were to be in space,
Well,
which-
you were 4
I know, but
when this came out.
I know, but
Or no,
still,
you were 5, right? No,
I don't know.
2003. You were 4.
2003.
Was when you were born.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah, I was only 7. So, yeah, this kind of freaked me out too. Kid show, freaking you out, right?
and these aren't even scary episodes.
No, these are. Well, I saw this thing. I actually posted it on our Instagram account the other day. I don't know if you saw it. I posted it yesterday. It was Clone Wars is for kids, and it was
Yeah,
like
it's
a
just a bunch of
3-minute
people dying.
recap of people just dying in crazy ways. And I was just like, yeah.
But so basically, they sent out these little like ships, and basically, if they couldn't crack the glass, they were crushing the ship. And it's like these weird pincer claws, and they go up to the escape pod, and they just slowly crush it. So fun stuff. So basically, we cut, and there's Anakin and Ahsoka, and they're on a mission in a nearby system, and we kind of start to learn a little bit more about Ahsoka here. And really her connection to Plo Koon. And so Anakin, being Anakin, was given orders to, I'm pretty sure they were having a convoy with his fleet. And he was supposed to be jumping to this next sector at a certain point, and he couldn't miss this jump, or like a bunch of shit, like a bunch of like shipments would be like off and stuff.
Yeah.
But Anakin, being Anakin, was like, "Oh, I'll do that," and it cuts off. And Ahsoka's like, "We have to like go help them,"
Well-
and he's just like, telling them one thing versus doing it is like two different things.
Well, I wrote down the exact quotes and stuff like that, and then also during the council meeting, Ahsoka like spoke up and was like, "If anybody was going to survive, it's going to be Plo Koon," and that goes to where you said where well, it cuts back and forth really bad in this scene, so we're gonna stay with Ahsoka and Anakin for a minute. Ahsoka starts explaining herself, and Anakin's like, "You don't really have to. I understand." And he's like, I wrote down the quote, and he's like, "Doing what the council says, that's one thing. Going about what they say is another." And he's like, "That's what I'm trying to teach you." And he's like, "The way you said the things you said is wrong, not the things you want to say." So I thought it was very interesting. And then we also, so the cutting scene that I just mentioned, we cut and Plos and the clones find an escape pod that's busted already into, and everybody's dead. They just see the clones floating in there. So that was the cut back and forth. That was a little interesting. But that dialogue I really like, because it really shows that is Anakin. He literally just threw himself out there and was like, "This is who I am. This is who I'm going to be this entire show." He's like we said, this is the second episode technically.
Yeah, he didn't follow orders for shit.
No, and then
and they all know it.
Yeah.
And just kind of let it happen.
yeah, and same thing with Ahsoka. Ahsoka gets to the point where she's kind of the same exact way. So
But so yeah, basically they go out on this mission and they go to this other system that Plo Koon's supposed to be in, and it is fucking torched. We see like the wreckage of these ships and stuff, and it is just straight, like it's just in pieces.
Yeah.
They destroyed these ships. And basically Obi-Wan contacts him to yell at him. It was like, "Anakin, where are you?" And Ahsoka like kind of steps in. It's like, "Oh, it was like my idea. Like, don't." And he's like, "Oh, sure." And
I'm sure.
basically, Obi-Wan then contacts the council, who was obviously upset and didn't want to mess up the other like convoy mission. And I love this quote by Yoda. I'm assuming you wrote it down too. But Yoda's basically talking about Anakin and Ahsoka, and he's like, "Twice the trouble they have become."
I actually didn't write it down. I wrote other dialogue down, but yeah, I'm glad you did. That's a great piece right there. So then we cut to Plo Koon and the clones. They've been trying to get power in their escape pod because they're just sitting there. They have no power. They have nothing. They finally get power, and all they hear is other clones yelling because they're getting their pod broken into. And then they actually get to see them in the distance, and they watch all of them die, which is another thing. Like, come on.
I forgot to say it. I didn't write it down, but there's a line from this episode that also terrified me as a kid, and it's the one with Plo Koon where they like hear the first pod and then it like cuts off, and Plo Koon's like, I don't know how he starts it, but he's like, "We're not alone out here."
Oh,
and that
yeah.
shit used to terrify me. I'm like, oh my god.
It's when they see the first pod that they see that had the dead people in it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not alone out here.
Just the way he said it. I was
Right.
like, ugh.
It was like, yeah, that was kind of creepy.
Gave
Also,
me-
just visually looking at him as a kid, you're kind of like,
I always liked him.
he's kind of scary looking.
He's cool as
though.
fuck though.
Oh, he is. But
I don't know
he's-
what yeah.
He's
I don't
kinda-
know how,
he's
like-
intimidating. He's not. He's intimidating. That's what it is.
He is and he isn't though. Like he's so scary that he looks like I don't know.
So, anyways, the droids notice that there's another pod over there, and sorry, I just said the dialogue from the show, and it was kind of weird. I didn't even write that down. That's what the droid said to the other droid. That was kind of
There's another pod over
yeah,
there.
no, that was weird. But
Dude, another thing, the one that's flying it, going ding ding, tapping. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? He's so cool with killing things. And he's a clone or he's a droid, so I get it. But
it's almost like he was humming like the Imperial March.
wait,
I think he was humming the Imperial March.
I don't know. We'll have to check that.
Like it was a little. I think it was a little slower. But
I don't
I'm
know,
pretty
I
sure
mean-
he was humming the Imperial March.
I never even thought about that. I don't know if he was or if it was just like a business workman like thing. I don't know.
I think he was.
We'll have to see. But
Hey, like we talked about before, they did everything intentional.
yes and no. They ended up making everything intentional.
I think that would be something they would do, though. Anyway, so Plo just looks at the clones and it's like, it's time to go. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? We're in an escape pod in the middle of space. And he's like, your helmets can withstand the pressure and mine can last for a little bit of time. For you, those of you that don't know, Plo Koon actually has to wear a mask because he can't breathe oxygen.
Yeah, I forget how it actually is, but his planet has like he breathes like a different gas.
Yeah. If you want to be scarred, look up a picture of him without his mask on. That's a fucking sight. Anyway, so they literally leave the escape pod, and Commander Wolf actually stays in the pod, but trying to get communication still. But they just head out into space, and then they have like a little fight against the droids. And
Commander Wolf before he was Commander Wolf.
right, I think he called him Commander.
I know, but like Wolf.
Before like the wolf we know, yeah. But they have like this fight against them, and they end up killing all the droids. I really like this scene. I don't know why. It's like Plo Koon goes out into space, and I don't know. I just think it looks cool.
Yeah, his like standing up on like the top of the pod.
Yeah.
He's just like, that's a Jedi.
And then what's a Jedi doing out here? So stupid. Also, I like the scenes where he like uses the Force to like throw the clones into space. Which, by the way, if he just somehow just gets disconnected or whatever, loses focus, that clone is gone. He's just nonstop flying forever. But
That's
I think
the fun in it.
I think it's really cool that he launches the clone behind everybody. He shoots all of them and then he pulls them back. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. And then some dialogue here. So we have a bunch of scenes where we're cutting back and forth between Ahsoka and Plo Koon because they have like this interconnection that we had talked about. They haven't talked about it yet. Or have they talked about it at this point?
They're getting ready to.
Yeah, I
or
think they're getting...
basically like.
Or no, it's probably right now when they're talking about it, actually.
Yeah, Anakin's like, so how do you even know Master Plo?
Right. And it was because Plo Koon found Ahsoka and brought her to the Jedi Temple. He was the first person that she knew, and they have been friends ever since.
Kind of weird they didn't make him her master.
I'm shocked that wasn't part of Tales of the Jedi when Ahsoka was like if Plo Koon would have showed up at the end of the episode when she was a baby.
I thought he did.
No.
Isn't he the one that grabbed her and took her?
No, nobody. It was just all the. I am blanking on what her species is.
Don't ask me.
But,
I'm terrible with names. I think they know that.
We're terrible with names in all aspects of species, just names, everything. But no, I don't think he is. I think he should have been though. I think that would have been really cool.
I kind of remember him doing it, but I don't remember now. But
anyway, so they have this like moment, and Ahsoka expresses it to Anakin, and we have scenes where they're cutting back and forth between Ahsoka and Plo Koon.
And Grievous and Dooku. Because at this point, they lose contact with the ship. Because Plo Koon cuts the legs off of it and starts flying, and the one clone's like talking to Duke and Grievous. He was like, "Oh, we lost connection to the ship," and so they end up starting to turn around.
Right.
And
I gotcha.
The Malevolence is starting to head back to that system to figure out why that ship no longer has connection.
Right. So we cut back to Plo for a second, and they have some dialogue here, and this is the dialogue I said I wrote down. There was one of the clones that kept saying throughout the episode that nobody's going to come looking for them. And
that they're disposable.
Yeah, he questions them and is like, why do you think nobody's coming? And he's like, we're just clones, sir. We're meant to be expendable. And Plo Koon's like, not to me. And I don't know, like, there you have some Jedi that, like, really do care. Like, Plo Koon's one of them that really cares. Like, I'm sure he just takes all the heat for all of his clones that just died. You know how many just died? So many of them. Yeah. All of them did, basically. And right before that, we saw Ahsoka when it was cutting back and forth like a motherfucker. But Ahsoka took the wheel in the ship and went after Plo because she like felt the connection with him through the Force. And as soon as they had the conversation, it just cuts to the ship getting there and saving them, basically. This is where we learn that it's an ion cannon.
Yeah.
Because Plo Koon gets in the ship and tells Anakin that it's an ion cannon. And then that's when it cuts back to what you said about them losing the hunters. Right after that.
Yeah, and so basically this ship is getting back into the system, and the way that they track you is by, like, seeing your ship and electronics and stuff like that. So they have... They, like, Plo Koon, like, gets in front of him and turns the ship down and turns the ship off, and then they're like, nothing can be on, and, like R2 starts beeping, so he goes over and they turn R2 off, and we cut to the droid on the Malevolence, and he's like, we're picking up some sort of medical droid on the scanner, and at that same point, like, Plo Koon's like, are you guys sure that we turned everything off? And then the medical droid that's helping the clones walks in. He's like, I think it's Ahsoka's like, we forgot to turn off the medical droid. Like, thanks. But
yeah, then they have a huge panic, turn everything back on, and then they...
readying the hyperdrive.
Yeah, so like we said, with all the ships being destroyed, there's a lot of debris everywhere. And they can't just jump into hyperspace because they'll die.
Yeah.
So they're trying to escape. The Malevolence gets into attack position and fires the ion cannon. And then you have a really butt-clenching moment where the ship is trying to escape before they get caught in the ray. And just like seconds before, they end up jumping into hyperspace to get out of there.
And we see this disappointed Dooku tell Grievous how disappointed he is with his failure and stuff. Dooku's so menacing just for no reason.
Yeah. Then we cut to Anakin and Ahsoka on the ship after they got back, and Anakin tells Ahsoka, "You're coming to the council meeting with me because I'm not taking all the blame."
Yeah.
And I think I think that's really funny. But that was the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
So
So, yep, we're moving on with season 1, episode 3, like he said. This episode's called Shadow of Malevolence.
And the quote is, "Easy is the path to wisdom for those not blinded by ego."
Some of these are a mouthful.
Yeah, I know. That's why I slowed down reading this one.
So basically, they are on. Anakin's basically making a plan to destroy this weapon, and basically he's gonna have like a bunch of clones who are gonna be in bombers, and they're basically just gonna bomb it's the bridge. That's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
They're gonna bomb the bridge.
I thought you honestly meant like where they walk in the bridge. You know how because there's people like in the ground.
Yeah, I just meant the whole thing.
Well, I thought you meant literally like the walk path. What was the name of the walk path? I was like, there's a name for that? I don't know.
No, just talking about the. Well,
okay,
I mean, that's the reason they call it the bridge.
That's true.
It's the bridge of the ship.
I guess. Oh well.
Well, yeah. So whatever. I was trying to say bridge earlier. Yeah. So basically, they are. The idea is to destroy the bridge, but at the same time, we cut to Dooku. This, like you said, cuts a lot. Dooku wants Grievous to attack this secret Republic medical center that's near them.
Well, I wrote something down before that. So right before they had the conversation, they're attacking another ship, which I'm like, where did this ship come from that they're attacking another ship?
Yeah, it was a medical ship.
Was it one of the medical? No, it wasn't, because that's before he gives them the order to go to the medical station.
Well, no, that's the reason they know. They knew that. They were like, oh that medical ship's going this way. They're probably going to that base.
I gotcha.
Dooku knows where everything fucking is.
All right, so there's dialogue with the droids, and the droid's like, this is a lot more fun when they aren't shooting back. And then the other droid's like, I still can't seem to hit anything. And Grievous literally just backhands the droid's head off.
Yeah.
And destroys the droid. And Dooku gets pissed. He's like, they're fucking expensive.
Well, he was like, the Jedi don't kill their clones, and Grievous don't give a fuck.
Yeah. But anyways, continue where you were at.
So basically, yeah, Dooku wants to destroy this Republic medical center, and he basically puts Grievous in charge to do it.
There's also 60,000 injured clones at this medical
station.
Yeah,
there's a ton of fucking clones here. And so this is one of those things that's kind of like the Jedi just know things because it's like a TV show. It's whatever. But like Anakin's like, isn't there a medical base near there? Just randomly talking to Is he talking to the council when he says that? He's at least talking to Obi-Wan. But he's like, yeah, Anakin's like, yeah, don't we have a medical base over there? He was like, if the Ion ship attacked that, we have to warn that base and like start an evacuation, because if we don't, like, they're going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, basically Anakin starts loading up his bombers to go on this bombing run, and Plo Koon's like, I don't got nothing to do. I'll come along.
Yeah, Plo Koon showed concern because he was like, if you guys lose any ships, like, you guys are going to struggle. And he's like, I'm going to go along with you guys to, like, tail everybody, make sure everybody's okay. So basically, at this point, it's just a race to the medical station between Anakin and his bombers, Grievous and the Malevolence, and then Obi-Wan with the backup fleet. Yeah. We literally have a race to get to this medical station right now.
Yeah, and with doing so, like, we cut, and Grievous is like, what did he say he was? Like a parsec or so out? Which is time, but...
Well, he was getting... I don't think it said it yet, but I think he was getting pissed because he was like, I thought this ship was fast, and it's taking a lot longer than Grievous thought. I mean, the ship's huge. I mean, even if it's fast, like, come on now, you're still moving that big old thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a car when, like, the weight's heavier. Like, come on now. That's part of the consideration, I would assume, at least.
Yeah, but so part of Anakin's plan is he has an idea to take a shortcut through this nebula, and it, like, directly leads to the other side to where that base is. But the only problem is he's, like, explaining this. He was like, yeah, it was this dangerous smuggler's route that I heard about back on Tatooine.
By the way, I thought that was, like, a really cool line to put in there. Like, oh, I remember this from Tatooine, because we've already talked about in the Clone Wars movie specifically, with Anakin talking about Tatooine, and like he hates talking about it. Dooku was trying to talk to him about it during his fight, and he wasn't happy about it at all.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that he brought it up. You know what I mean? I thought it was kind of nice. I was like, oh, maybe he has like some kind of a good memory.
I don't think that's a great memory.
Well, maybe not that specifically, but like the fact
I remember
that
the smugglers talking about using
but the fact that he was talking about it and like wasn't like mad or upset or anything, he actually was like kind of like happy,
because he's insight.
I guess.
Mm.
But I don't know. It kind of just brought to me like maybe he has some kind of light.
What?
Well, we know he's turning to Darth Vader, so
I mean, yeah.
clearly he has some kind of light if you've seen all of Star Wars. But
Yeah. So basically, like they go through this nebula, and basically, like Ahsoka's like, I'm seeing a bunch of these like hits on the radar, and it's because, well, Anakin didn't know, but Plo Koon knows that this nebula is a giant breeding ground for Nibre mantis, which are these giant fucking like manta ray looking species thing.
yeah,
And they basically, like they breed and mate in these like nebulas because like they can like hide out in them.
yeah.
So
Also, they're going through, and obviously they're all flying around, and they're having trouble getting through now because it's not just gas anymore. And the one clone actually hits one of them and kind of scuffs up his ship a little bit, and he got it under control. They're still flying through it. Ahsoka's like, that one looks hungry. Anakin's like, nah, it's just smiling at you.
yeah.
I don't know, just the Clone Wars, like a little dialogue, but so we cut to the Malevolence, and it made it to the medical station, the system where the medical station is. And it first shot at one of the medical transport ships that was trying to try to flee, destroyed it. Like not,
I think it was a couple actually. There's like 2 or 3.
I don't really remember if it was more than one.
And this is
but
like exactly as Anakin's arriving outside the other
yeah,
side.
as soon as they happen, it's like we're picking up some small ships on the radar, and Grievous is like Skywalker.
Yeah, so basically like they realize that they're gonna start bombing them, so Grievous launches this like attack against the Republic bombers with what are those little droids called? Like the ship droids?
I knew as soon as you started talking about it, you were going to ask me what they were called.
We're terrible at our job, guys.
Yeah, we literally will just pick on each other too. We'll be like, I don't remember. So what's the name of them?
Yeah, so basically, oh my god, it's gonna make me.
It's
mad.
like the ships that are like also like droids that can walk.
Yeah, I know what they like. I like, yeah,
Right.
But
I was just explaining for them. But
yeah, and then they also launched the ion cannon at them.
I was like, great idea. You probably
And-
should have launched that first.
Dude, the one droid's like, we're gonna destroy a bunch of our own men, and he's like, do it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
So they shoot the ion cannon, and Anakin tells everybody that it's like it happened, right? And they're trying to like avoid it, so they basically just pull up and go straight up, trying to go around it, basically. And as they're doing that, the ship that got messed up in the nebula ended up blowing up,
Yeah.
and in the process, it took out another ship with it. And
So we're down 2 ships.
Down 2 ships, and then they have like a report after, and Shadow 6, 7, and 10 got caught in the ray. They're all disabled. They're all out of the fight. They're
So we're down 5.
probably all dead at that point.
Well, I don't think they're dead.
Well, if there was
They're
any
just chilling.
droid ship to survive, they're dead.
That's true. So
Well,
yeah,
it's also
so-
like I got a question. So like the droid ships, they get shut down. Can they turn back on?
I don't know.
I don't know either, because they show that it gets shut down. Because it's like, you know, it's like a ship or anything. Like it's ran by something. A droid's ran by something, so it turns off and on. I wonder if it could turn back on. I guess we also don't know, because every ship that gets disabled usually gets destroyed. So that's a good question. I don't know. I guess we don't have an answer to that, because I guess we'll find out in a little bit. But so they are still trying to head for the bridge, and Ahsoka just keeps yelling at Anakin,
And
like,
they're flying down the mouth of a ship right
Right.
now, and like they're just getting blasted by fucking
Yeah.
fire.
and Ahsoka's just yelling at Anakin's like, you're gonna make it, but nobody else is going to make it. I'm assuming Plo Koon would make it too, but nobody else is going to make it. And then their bombers aren't
I
going to...
think she says that. You and Master Plo can make it, but no, I don't think she said that.
I don't think she said that. She
But
says...
it's like implied.
Yeah.
Like the only person that's going to fly through this is a Jedi.
Yeah.
And so like basically Plo Koon comes up with a better idea. Instead of attacking the bridge and just killing the people on the ship, why don't we disable the ship?
Yeah.
And so they immediately make like a hard right, and they all just launch their fucking bombers into the... So like this ship's weird. So it's like a long ship, and there's like these giant circle ion cannons, and they basically launch into the sides of them, like the base of it, and it doesn't actually destroy it at first. It kind of just shuts it down. But the problem is that Grievous was like lining up to launch it at the medical base. So when it fired, it backfired into itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, caught on fire in space, which is can't happen. But
By the way, animation in 2008 for that, I thought it looked really good.
I mean, they were drawing it.
Right. I thought it looked really good.
It's not bad.
Rewatching it. But yeah, so the ion cannon just got destroyed, and then one of the droids actually told Grievous that the hyperdrive got messed up.
Dude, they
during that
fucked
as
up this entire ship.
Yeah, this ship is like a floating bonfire.
Yeah. And like as they go to like get out of there, like Obi-Wan and his 3 cruisers show up, and they just start launching an assault on the ship because it's just fucked up. And so basically, yeah, the rest of the bombers, Anakin and Plo Koon, fly into Obi-Wan ships, and then they'd kind of like get down. And I thought it was a really nice scene where even with like the losses, like Plo Koon like went up to Anakin to like acknowledge his leadership skills and stuff like that. And
yeah, I mean, it wasn't really like Anakin did anything wrong. He came up with out of the box plans to like actually make this successful because like they had no shot, and Anakin's plan made it successful to an extent. Yeah, they lost a lot of men, but without Anakin, who knows? Like Plo Koon might not have been able to come up with that strategy. Other Jedi might not have been.
I don't even think it was just that. It was like just getting in there with the amount of men they had, and they saved tens of thousands of clones because of that.
Well, it would have been 60. Well, I guess some of them died already because the ships got destroyed.
That's why I said tens of thousands.
Yeah, I guess
I'm not going to give you
thousands.
I don't know the exact number, but yeah, that's kind of how that episode ends. I know there's like a little bit of snickering at the end with Ahsoka. And between Ahsoka, Plo, and Anakin, they're like kind of talking shit. But yeah, it's funny. Like I feel like a lot of what we see of the Jedi in the movies are super calm, collected, nothing like, especially the council members. But like, they all are like very like snickering and like make jokes and have fun in the Clone Wars. Like one that we'll get to eventually is one scene that literally changes my entire perspective about Ki-Adi-Mundi. Yeah. And, like, him just having fun.
Him just being a person?
Yeah, and not just, just a complete stiff all the time. And, like, it's refreshing to see Jedi like that, but, we don't get that any other time. So,
no.
So, we're on to our last... episode.
Last episode in the arc.
Season 1, Episode 4, Destroy Malevolence.
The quote is, "A plan is only as good as those who see it through." I don't know about you. I didn't write very much down for this episode.
I actually think I might have wrote more than the last episode.
I wrote a hell of a lot less.
So basically, the Malevolence is heavily damaged, and Grievous basically flees, and they're pursued by the 3 Republic ships, Republic cruisers. And basically, due to the sheer size of the Malevolence, like the cruisers can't actually do that much damage to it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but so I think Plo Koon suggests summoning reinforcements. And they talk about maybe getting Luminara, but she's like occupied by a separatist fleet herself. So like they're kind of on their own. They have to come up with a plan. And so Obi-Wan thinks that like because they haven't jumped yet, that the hyperdrive is like fucked up. So they just order all of the guns on their ships to fire at the bridge.
Right.
And that's like their new plan.
As this is going on, we have a ship come out of hyperspace, and it's Padme
Yep.
in her little Naboo starship with C-3PO. And it's because she was sent to have negotiations with the banking clan and was given the coordinates for it. And she literally got out of hyperspace and damn near hit the Malevolence.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was a trap made by Dooku. Wasn't it, like, false?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So Dooku basically wanted her to hold her hostage.
Right.
And, like, upon realizing that, she gets, like, docked into their ship, and she just explodes her ship.
Yeah, she sets it to blow up, and she damn near gets Grievous. The Grievous goes in the ship after her. Well, he doesn't. I don't know if he knows who it is specifically. But he's like, he damn near blew up.
Move out of my way.
He literally just let all of his droids die. He literally almost, like, because I think it shows an explosion. He, like, gets pushed back from it. Like, he literally damn near could have died. Imagine Padme ended the Clone Wars. Episode 4.
I wouldn't have ended the Clone Wars, but...
Well, they talk about it a lot. If Grievous gets destroyed, then, you know, a big halt. Well, I guess that was because Dooku is dead. Never mind. But, I mean, still, you take Grievous out. Grievous is a huge piece.
Yeah.
Even Sidious says that countless times in the Clone Wars, that Grievous is a huge piece. So.
Yeah, so basically, like, Anakin gets onto the Malevolence, and Padme manages to contact him, and they make this plan to, like, rendezvous at this location on the rail system. By the way, I kind of mentioned this to you. This ship is so fucking big, it has a train in it.
Yeah, multiple trains.
It has an entire, like, railroad system.
It's faster to get through that way.
That's fucking insane, though.
Well, they don't need elevators going up and down. They need elevators to get from one side to the other.
Yeah.
So they just get trains.
So basically, they're, like, wandering, and she's trying to stay out of droids' reach and shit, and Anakin finally, like, spots Padme and jumps onto, like, one of the rail trains, rail jets, whatever they called them. And basically, Obi-Wan goes after C-3PO while Anakin goes after Padme.
Yeah. Obi-Wan loses C-3PO. He tries to do the same thing Anakin did, because so Padme jumped onto one of the trains, which was crazy, and then Anakin was like, jump to me, and she jumps, and he uses the Force to, like, pull her to him. And Obi-Wan tried to do the same with C-3PO, and another train just took C-3PO. It literally just smacked into him, and he was gone. So Obi-Wan had to play catch-up to try to go find C-3PO. He ends up getting trapped by Grievous and a shit ton of droids. All droids, regular battle droids.
And I think right before that, Anakin is gonna go after C-3PO, but, like, Padme tells him that she overheard Grievous saying that the hyperdrive was close to being repaired. So, like, they're on a time crunch.
Right. So they go after the hyperdrive. Obi-Wan's still trying to... I don't even know what Obi-Wan's goal is, because he doesn't find C-3PO.
He ends up fighting Grievous.
Yeah, so anyways, all the battle droids and stuff surround Obi-Wan, and we see Grievous. Grievous comes out, and we hear it for the first time. Hello there.
Hello there.
Grievous. For you guys that didn't know, the reason why Obi-Wan says hello there, granted, I know they made this shit backwards. The reason why Obi-Wan says hello there to Grievous in the third movie with the smirk is because technically Grievous says it to him for the first time. But you also see in the Clone Wars, every interaction they have, they go back and forth with who says it. So it's basically whoever surprises the other one says it.
Yeah, it's a little cat and mouse game.
Yeah. But so he says that, and then Grievous is just telling the droids to kill him, basically. And Obi-Wan uses the droidicas and pushes them and destroys a shit ton of battle droids just by 3 pushes. And I thought it was really cool that I don't think they ever do that again.
Probably not.
I don't think they ever do it again.
If there is, it's like Yoda, maybe.
Maybe. But yeah, he uses the droidicas, he pushes them, and they just roll backwards and destroy the droids as they roll. And I thought that was really, like, clever on Obi-Wan. I mean, of course Obi-Wan would do it, right? But
the goat.
Yeah, the goat. But
Yeah, and like meanwhile that's happening, like Anakin and Padme reach the bridge, and the ship is like almost ready to jump to hyperspace, but they quickly like destroy all the droids like working the Navicomputer, and they rig the Navicomputer to don't they rig it to like fly into something?
Yeah. Well, we don't know that yet. We don't find that out till the last scene in the episode.
Anakin rigs it to go somewhere, and basically they leave the bridge after they like hide the broken droids.
So they're trying to get back to the ship. I don't think they're going after C-3PO, but they end up running into C-3PO.
C-3PO, come on, let's go.
What are you doing standing there? Let's go. And meanwhile, Obi-Wan's being chased by Grievous, and Obi-Wan was really smart here again. He takes him to like the railroad part of the ship, and he obviously there's some going in different directions. There's like fucking 10 of them or more, who knows. And he's like toying with him. Which way am I gonna go? You know, and they're like having a lightsaber fight. By the way, I think they hit each other twice with the lightsabers, and that was it. And then Obi-Wan jumps and he's gone, and he's just like,
yeah. And basically, this is where I was getting to. Is like the droids on the Malevolence are like, oh, the hyperdrive's ready. So they go to jump to hyperspace, but they realize that Anakin rigged it, and the Navicomputer is set to run into a moon.
Right. And meanwhile, Grievous is still chasing after them. He actually leaves the Malevolence into his own personal ship to attack, and he had a couple, I think, of the droid ships with him. And Anakin's like, we have guns. You can shoot back. And Padme literally gets up and grabs the gun and starts shooting. And Obi-Wan being his smart ass that he is like, she seems to know her way around. Like, heavily implying that she's been on this ship before.
Yeah.
Because in his knowledge, this should be the first time she's on there. But clearly not. We don't get to see that, but I mean, they make it very clear that she's been on the ship before. So, I don't know. I thought that was really funny. And then Grievous gets a call from Dooku being like, are you on your way and this and that? And Grievous is watching the ship just fly into the moon. And he just doesn't say anything and just hangs up the call.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how that first interaction between Grievous and Dooku was when they first see each other. Can't even imagine.
Yeah, I destroyed the ship and I hung up on you.
We lost the ion cannon, then we lost the ship, and then I hung up on you. Oh, it's crazy. But yeah, so the ship crashes, and Obi-Wan's like, I assume you had something to do with that. It's like, all part of the plan.
All part of the plan, Master.
And then it shows this weird like panel picture with Ahsoka. Ahsoka was there, right? No, maybe it was just Padme, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. Oh, R2-D2. Oh, C-3PO is the one standing there. That's who was standing there. So it had all of them there just standing there, and it's like a panel picture, basically, and then that's just how the episode ends.
Yeah, so this is definitely a very... I remember this arc a lot, but it's because we watched it a lot.
We had a DVD that had the first 4 episodes on it.
No, I think it was like the first 7.
I think it was first 4.
No, because it went up to Goldie.
I'll go home and find out.
Oh my god, we have to cover the Goldie
That's
episodes.
probably next.
We'll get to that. That's going to be a lot of bitching.
That's probably next. Also, I have it on DVD still. We should still have it at home.
Dude, I think it was up to the episode where the one guy steals somebody.
Okay.
I think it ends on that one.
Maybe.
But
I
think it's like episode 6.
I'll go look at it and let you know. It's funny. But
well, yep, so that was the arc of the Malevolence.
Yeah. Who knows what actual arc we've covered numbers wise. 3, 4, 5?
This is the third or the fourth one.
So you got the movie? That doesn't matter. Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
We'll have it on there. Whatever number it is, because none of this is in order. So
Yep. So
yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's been Mind Trick Media. Thank you.